And we are live. Hey guys, Darren here. Welcome to Mayhem Country Living on a fantastic Monday afternoon, evening ish. How's that time change treating you guys? Hope you guys are doing all right wherever it is that you are down in here in central Alabama, deep south rather. We are experiencing a little bit of a cold spell. We're supposed to have some frost warnings out in certain parts of the state, ours being one of them. And hopefully, it's not going to kill off all the blossoms on my peach trees and my plum trees and the apple trees and the pear trees. Knock on wood, hopefully, we don't get too much of a cold snap coming in. But we'll hang around for a few minutes tonight. It's going to be a brief one because I have a lot of other stuff happening. Hey, Sandy, how are you doing this evening? Hope you're doing all right. How is everything going with you? We may have a few more people on here in a little bit. Over the weekend, it was just so busy. I really hadn't had a chance to sit down and play on the live stream because I'd been so busy. And I thought I would rather, I would do a little talk. Oh, you been sick? You've been sick or sickened? There's a lot of stuff going on that I've been sickened by here lately. Hey, Marvin, how are you doing, buddy? I love the fact that I had to get up an hour earlier for no reason. Um, Whatsoever. It was incredible. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry you're feeling poorly. But yes, time change is incredible. I have heard that in the state of Arizona, I did not know this, they have abolished the time change. So their time is, it is what it is. And I can understand back when it was more of an agricultural slant to most of the jobs that people had. You know, I can understand. They say in theory that's why they had it, so you could uh, get outside to do the work, and you could stay out there and work a little bit later in the evenings. But I don't know. And I'd also heard the story. I don't know if you guys have heard this one, that the main reason was so that the people who came up with this, the elites, they could play golf 1 hour longer in the evenings. Which is it? I do not know. But it's been a busy day here. Did a little bit of work and then went for our monthly grocery haul, and that was busy. There's always a lot to do on that day. Vacuum sealing all the stuff up, and I'm moving a bunch of stuff around. I got to get some more shelves so I can accommodate, and I'm still packing stuff away in the quart jars. I think that will be a better way to store, because I noticed some of the stuff, I was getting air into some of the plastic containers that I was reusing. So to remedy that, we decided just to use what we had, all those gallon, all of the quart small neck jars, and get all that taken care of. Might as well use them. You get up early Sunday to get used to it. Also, Indianapolis runs on the half hour. That's interesting. So they split it down the middle. Huh. That's interesting. Always wondered how it would be if you lived like in a city that did something similar, and then I guess you just keep track of it. It's kind of like when I'm driving up to Tennessee, my phone changes, but I keep the clock in the car or the truck on Alabama time, so that way I can kind of keep track of both of it. But who knows? So how you been, Marvin? What you been doing? I hope you enjoyed getting up that extra hour. It was great. Sandy says she's still a little under the weather. Um, so I understand everybody has been fighting some kind of crud. Samantha has it, and she's finally getting over it. And I think I'm getting it. Just kind of like a headache and a little bit of a fever. So we're just kind of seeing how everything progresses. I went ahead and started got some beef ribs in the smoker. It would be dark at 5 o'clock, at 4 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. I've always wondered about that. How, I mean, I guess it would just continue business as usual. The funky thing is, back before the time change, you know, we would wrap up the day at dark ish 30, whenever it started getting dark. Hey, Redneck Prepper, how you doing, buddy? Um, but we would start getting our evening ready to wrap up, and it was just okay in the morning. By the time I got off work, oh yeah, I don't know. Eh, And Shauna's the same way. She was dragging too. All right, man. Um, but yeah, it's been a very tiring day, and we had to go run drop off some stuff at the grandkids. And by the time we got back, I looked at her and I said, "It is almost 6 o'clock." It was 5:15, and I said I was supposed to start those ribs at 3, but I was vacuum sealing some of the other meat that we got, and I was like, "Dad, gummit." Um, so I'll finish cooking those things, and we'll eat them tomorrow. I'm trying a different kind of seasoning on it. I'm using a peach garlic rub on those beef ribs. Threw on some paprika, some charbroil seasoning, and of course peeled the silver skin off. And I did something else. Can't remember what it was. Threw on there, and that ought to be a really good flavor. And then I'm going to make a barbecue sauce out of a jar of peach preserves that we have. I might make a video about it. I think a lot of people are getting tired of the ribs video, but we eat them a lot, beef and the pork ribs. So it's just kind of like something to do, banging them out. And holy cow, I still have a lot of canned goods to put up and everything, because we buy for the month and then a little extra when we can. So there is a pile of canned goods I've got to go through and date, and then we got to rotate. And so it's just been a job, but it's what we do. Never tired of good food. Amen, Sandy. So while I am cooking beef ribs in a little bit, we're going to have bacon and egg sandwiches because we didn't want to eat it at like 8:30. So tomorrow we'll have a big feast. But tonight we'll just have bacon and egg sandwiches. What else is going on? Oh yeah, yeah. I love bacon and egg sandwiches. Throw in a handful of cheese, and whip them up with a little bit of milk or cream, make them fluffy. That is some good eating. And whatever mayonnaise of choice, if you like mayonnaise, and of course the bacon. And now she likes thin. I've been looking. I have a jar of apricot over there. Um, I've been looking at doing something with some apricot preserves as well. But peach, I did pineapple last time. Pineapple's pretty dang good. Um, hey, Doc Falcon, you feeling any better, man? I think we're all kind of dragging and tired today or this evening. Um, but I'm going to try that. And I tell you what, there is all of the talk with all of the news and everything, and I get to the point. I try not to watch it. Um, I understand. I understand. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Um, with everything that's going on, and you see all the stuff in the news, and you watch the few channels that I do watch. Oh man, I look homeless. The few channels that I do watch, it was all doom and gloom, and I was like, geez. Um, apricot with a little kick. Yeah, little apricot with a little kick. Do some smoky paprika in there with it, and then just like make a good barbecue sauce, like smoky chipotles. That would be pretty good. I had to work on that. Um, but I tell you what, sometimes I get tired of prepping. I really do. Actually, I might label this tired of prepping. Um, just because everything that goes on and happens and does all this stuff, and you think, well, okay, that's one more thing I've got to worry about. Nuclear war now. That's great. That's great. Um, fortunately, we have, oh, yeah. Yes, sir, Doc. Um, fortunately, making a fallout shelter is pretty straightforward. Um, I mean, I might do a video on that. A whole bunch of other people have done it. I remember years ago. Hey, Rocco, like the dang package. Yep, it will arrive when it arrives. Um, but I had my dad's old. You guys, yeah, y'all are all kind of in the same age as me. You guys remember the Civil Defense, and they had books and pamphlets. The white helmets and the CD on there, and we had a library full. This is why I'm the way I am. We had a library full of civil defense books and manuals and the old pamphlets. I don't know what happened to them. I actually hear they're collectible now. So, doing a fallout shelter, pretty straightforward. Um, and that is not to say that the blast wouldn't get you, depending on, what area you are in. Um, but it's just one of those things. I was listening to, who was it? Steve Poplar on the Poplar Report. Yeah, duck and cover. Put the book over your head and then bend over so you can kiss your butt goodbye under the desk there. And oh dang it, pinball. And while they have good valid points on that, a lot of it is, and I understand. They're concerned about what they're concerned about, and some of the larger channels are concerned and everything. And it's also, it goes over to a rating thing. Oh yeah, yeah. Doing that in grammar school, you'd take the book, and I always pick my math book because my thought was, well, if I got to die, I want this book to burn too. So I would use my math book. I love my science book, so I wouldn't use it. I hated math, so oddly enough, I'm in a career now where I do a lot of math. Away she goes. Uh, in the commissar, we had to put on red armbands and bang gongs during drills, making sure everyone ran to their shelters. Also, later in Yugoslavia, in the U.S., they didn't even know what CD signs meant. Really? Huh. We had to get under our desks. Yep. Yep, I understand. Get under there and play with all the gum that you stuck under there. Math is the work of the devil. Absolutely, it is. Um, but, pay some bills. So that's it. One of the things, that they have talked about, and this, I'm just kind of, nattering on, one of the things is being away from the blast zone. If you were at the center well, it was nice knowing you. If you were affected here in Alabama, I think I did a video a few years back and I plotted out, if Darren was going to nuke Alabama, where would he do it? And all the way up Mobile, all the way around, all those areas, making sure, Pensacola, because of the Air Force base down there. And then you have your seaports, Anniston, Huntsville, over in Mississippi, right across the state line. There's a big military base over there. And so it was like plotting all of those. And I don't know. I can't remember what I called the video, but earworm in your cabbage for the rest of the week. Yep. So it was always interesting, and it, and you can go down that rabbit hole a long way. Living in New York City, then in Cleveland, we just figured out when the first wave to go. Yeah, so why bother? Run to a bar and open your mouth under a tap. There you go. That would be the way to end it. Hey, surviving in Alabama. How you doing, buddy? In the old days, on the car radios, all over radios, they had the Conal Rand spots that you had to tune in if you ever get attacked. That's right. 80, gosh, what was that? 88.3 FM here in, I want to say something like that. It was way down on the, way down on the, on the dial. And, yeah, I remember that. Tune in. Oh, it was only on AM. There was one, or maybe that was channel 6. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, because years ago, channel 6, you could pick channel 6 up on FM on the low band. I think that's right. I could be going crazy. I'll have a sip of coffee. But it's just, one thing. Nobody knew what FM was back in the 50s and early 60s. Yep. Now we have an annoying cell phone alerts that everyone just hits OK to shut up and never read. Absolutely. Yes. And they, unless you put them in your little bag and seal it up. And that works. Oh, you had 3 last night. Okay. Yeah. Now the downside is you might miss a call or something like that. But sometimes it's good to put your phone in that little bag, the Faraday bag that might have to do a refresher video on that. And that works pretty dang good. And there's all kinds of stuff that you can use. One of the things, they were talking about all of the interconnectivity of everything. And Steve Poplar he'd made a good argument for you can talk on cell phones. Is that a new feature? Absolutely. And how everything is so interconnected because somebody was trying to pay their bills. and they were trying to pay the power bill, but they couldn't pay the power bill because the phone service to the power company was down because of cell phone outages, but the power was up. And the funny thing is, then the electrical power is being powered to supply electricity to the tower, but the tower's still not working. And in the meantime, if something should happen, like the natural gas are powered by the electric motors. So if there's a problem with that, and they do have backup generators, they do. It's for water, and it's run by natural gas, and it's just a whole big convoluted crazy man red string on a map kind of picture once you get it, and it's like, holy cow, how interconnected everything is. Going around in person on the first of the month with my grandpa to pay power and water. Absolutely. Yes, sir. Back when this is years ago, uh, in like 1990, I worked at UAB downtown. Believe it or not, I worked in adjacent to the medical field. And first of the month, I would take my power bill and I would walk down to the power company and the water board downtown Birmingham and go in and stand in line and pay it because that saved that 20-cent stamp. Believe it or not, yes, that brings back some memories right there, because that was yeah. But that's what we used to do. And you remember, this is a crazy thing. It was called a check. Hang on. It was a check, just like a check. There we go. And a check, and we had a checkbook, and you would write how much you had, how much you thought you had, and what you wrote the check out to. I still have a checkbook, obviously, because I got it in my hand. I use it to pay my tithes at church. That's the only reason we still have a checkbook, because you still write checks too. Okay, yeah, and you would go through and you would write a check, or the person in front of you would write a check, and then they would stand in front of you and balance their checkbook while you were trying to pay for your groceries. Holy cow. You guys remember that? And you'd have to still write checks with your old address on them, since I write so few. Yeah, I actually had to update this one. I write 2 to 4 checks a month, like I said, depending on how I pay my church tithes, and that's it. I don't use them for anything else. I used to keep an extra one in the car, folded up, just in case I needed it. You'll get mugged doing that now. Yeah, people who write checks at stores. Luckily, most places don't accept them anymore. That's very interesting. That is actually very interesting. What was it? I remember, and you would sit on the phone, the hand phone. You would sit on the phone, and you would listen to the checks that had gone through and that hadn't been processed yet. To hear more, press 1. Boop. And you would push 1, and check number 1745 for $36.15. And that was your week's worth of groceries, $36. How about that, guys? She don't happen like that no more. She don't happen like that no more. We went, I'm just kind of all over the place here because I'm tired. Cost of food. Have you guys noticed how much the food prices are going down now? I'm being funny. They're up even higher than they were. Holy cow. Food prices are getting ridiculous. And yep, I'm going to be wrapping up in just a minute because I don't want to keep you guys too long. I still got a lot more to do this evening. So, it's housing prices. Yeah, those things are, yep, the economy is doing great now. And I'm so glad I'm living in the time when the economy is thriving. I'm so happy I could bust. Um, Food is I spent send monthly checks to your sister to cover your share of the season's Guardian tickets. Yeah, okay. She owes me money right now, so I'm covered through July. There you go. Keep track of it. That was a nice thing about checks. Um, yeah, food has gotten expensive. I was going to say, I think we spent, and mind you, this is for a month purchase, and we do pretty good because we buy in bulk. I still am going to say, I bet we spent $600 on groceries. Um, did you watch the Oscars? If it was any more anti-Semitic, they could have held it in Nuremberg. Now that is a wicked cut right there. No, I don't watch the Oscars. I don't watch any of that stuff. Hey, one day at a time. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're having a good time. I imagine you are at work tonight. Well, stay safe. Um, no, why should I? It's a bunch of people who live in a make believe world and pretend, and they get paid an offensive amount of money. And I understand entertainment. I understand. I do like to watch a movie on occasion. Um, on the rare occasion, I take the hooch out to a movie theater. Um, I don't like to do that because all the stuff that goes on in movie theaters. Hodges, how are you doing? I will not be surprised when the economy suffers. We see deflation. Yes, sir. Um, Absolutely, it's going to be a very interesting ride. There's a whole lot of things that are happening, and you look at it, and it's like, holy cow, how can this be happening? And then it's, holy cow, how can this be happening now? And holy cow, yet again, ad nauseum, this is happening. Um, Stay aware, stay alert as to what all is happening around us. I was talking to somebody today, and for some reason, YouTube's really been promoting the video I did about would you let the politicians watch your kids? And I've gotten a whole lot of comments today. Some nice, some not so nice. I don't care. Um, they have a drive-in theater in Leeds by Buc-ee's. I didn't know they were still around. The economy when the trumpet. We will see, Marvin. We will see. It will not happen quickly. Um, and I was talking to, I can't remember who it was, but it's not going to be a flick of the switch. It is going to be a long, slow process to. I don't watch the Oscars. Only new movies. The only new movie I've seen was The Sound of Thunder. I like foreign and bad films. Yes, yes, Rocco. I know you like a lot of the interesting ones. Yes, Sandy, and I think you were responding to, would you let them watch your kids or your grandkids? Yeah, no, absolutely not. And someone, they thought I was like making a play for, or a dig at the Democrats and not at the Republicans. And I was like, I'm kind of talking about all of them, really, because there's not, you know, that's a whole different video or a whole different talk about. It's like there's a concept of Overton, an Overton window, and how levels of extremes, which were once considered extremes, are more acceptable. And an example would be electric cars. Electric cars used to be, weirdo, crazy people, nut jobs drove them, and we're going to buy American made and do this and do that and do that. And then slowly, as social thoughts have changed and progressed, now it is considered acceptable, normal, and good for the environment to drive your electric car. Just don't get caught in it when it burns up. There you go. Ice cream truck, the hot dogs. What else, Marty? Yeah, I wouldn't if I manage a hot dog stand. Yeah, I wouldn't either. I wouldn't either. Um, the two-party system may as well be one party now. Absolutely, and could be worse. China's unemployment is through the roof, and 50% of business and local governments aren't paying their workers for months. Yes, sir. I have heard that as well. Although Rocco, I know you are more in touch um, with that kind of news than I am. I've just heard little snippets. But yeah, and it's what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? I can't fix the government. Believe it or not, I hate to shock you guys. Darren Taylor cannot fix what's happening in the White House. I can't. Rocco can't. Sandy can't. Hodges can't. Surviving in Alabama can't. Doc Falcon can't. But what you can do is make it better wherever you are. And that's what my big thing is. Um, Pete's second oldest son is in the South Korean Army's intel service. Wow. Yeah, I figured you would, have some insight as to what is going on. Um, make you supreme dictator, and you could easily fix it. Yes, I understand. I understand. Or benevolent overlord. It's what I would prefer to be called. Your Highness, or something like that. Ford and GM are cutting EV productions way back. They have realized people don't want. Oh yes, uh, Ford's Hurricane electric truck. Ford, was that, a hurricane or a cyclone? Um, and yes, that they have them sitting. The ones that they quit the production line, and nobody wanted them. No one wants an electric truck. No one wants, well, an electric car. I would, if I had business in town. My town is like 3 miles around. If I wanted to go to the Taco Bell, we just got a Taco Bell, guys. You ought to come on down. We're getting big time. It's by the feed store. If I wanted to go to the Raptor, is that it? I can't remember. If I want to go somewhere in that 3 mile area, yeah, I could understand that. Maybe, maybe not. Um, I have actually thought about an e-bike just for that purpose. But again, I got 2 mountain bikes that we cleaned up and fixed up. So and that gets exercise. So it's all perspective and what you want. Um, but what just galls me is somebody that I have to do this because it's turning the polar bears yellow instead of staying in white. Turkish kebab place. Man, that sounds good. I like kebabs. Um, the baba ganoush and the oh yeah. Never mind. I'm going off, but it's all about what you can do in your little area with your neighbors. And I hate to be that way, but we need to worry about our own little slice before we start looking to fix all of the rest of it. And I mean that globally. And the other countries, in my opinion, I am not well traveled, but in my opinion, from what little I know, I think the other countries know that we are close to imploding, and they're just going to sit back and watch it and let it happen, and come in for their slice when it's over. That's just me. It's been kind of a funky day, though. I could just be crabby. Weak as water. I didn't mind filling the car and truck once a month. Yeah, yeah. Golf court. So yeah, golf cart. That would be a good way to do it. And then charge it up. I've never understood if you're going to have these solar vehicles and everything, why don't you put? I mean, my whole thought was, what if you had solar cells, or made the solar cells efficient enough to provide the power for the vehicle when you stopped? That was my whole thing. I mean, they can do all this exotic stuff now, all this new polymer technology. Why can't you just paint solar cells? You want a blue car? It would be blue, but it would be solar cells. You want a fancy yellow one? Yellow, but it's actually solar cells. Like it's, we talk about all the wraps that you see on trucks. There you go. Paper thin, conductive solar cell. Now somebody's going to come up with it, and there I go. I lost my $1 billion. Our Soviet postal system could get a letter 5,000, have it censored twice, and get it to you twice a day, 6 days a week. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't here. No, we're the U.S. Postal Service. No, we don't do that. I have the idea of a golf cart with solar panels on top. Yes, I think that's a great idea. I've heard someone has talked about that. I think it's a great idea. And it would charge when you're sitting, and then have a trickle charge. One company did that, and then they went out of business. I wonder why they went out of business. I don't know. I got to go because I got to go outside and flip those ribs, and I got a bunch of other stuff to do this evening. But I have enjoyed talking to you guys. UPS gets it 2 miles, doesn't censor, and you'll get it in 5,000. Yeah, 5,000 days on average. Yeah. Yeah. And the thing about it, I know the people at the post office. They know, oh, Darren. Yeah, Darren's a guy with the big German Shepherds in his yard. Yeah. Oh, that's Darren's package. There you go. Anyway, they have those that have a put-in bay. Yep. You guys have a good evening. I'll holler at y'all later. We'll try to do this. We may bump it back to 7 o'clock, something like that. Y'all chew on that, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Take care of you people. See ya.